Hi everyone. Please have your scored strong interest inventory results available as we go through this next video. You should have received your scored strong interest inventory results via student email. If you haven't yet received them, please send me an email so that I can resend them. The email address that they were sent from was noreply@cpp.com. So do double check both your inbox and your junk email to see if you've received this email yet. So this video will focus on how to interpret your report. I have an example report up here on the screen that I'll walk through page by page to help you understand and apply the results. As you can see, the first page is pretty basic. It has the title of the strong interest inventory. It should have your name on it, and just some other basic information. The second page focuses on how the strong interest inventory can help you. These two paragraphs here at the top of the page emphasize that the strong interest inventory measures interests, not skills and abilities. I also like the statement in the second paragraph right down here that states that managing your career is not a one-time decision, but a series of decisions made over your lifetime. I suggest you save these results as you may want to review them again in a few months or even a few years. The shaded box right here on the left-hand side details how the strong can benefit you, not just in career exploration, but also in identifying interests, determining your preferred learning environment, and even learning about your preference for leadership, risk-taking, and teamwork. The shaded box right here on the right provides an overview of how the assessment is organized. I like to think about the strong being organized starting with the big picture results, the Holland Reassec codes, and then getting more and more specific, comparing your results with professionals who are satisfied working in various occupations, and even a section on gaining insights into the work and educational environments most likely to fit you best. Page 3 is the beginning of your scored results. Everyone's results will look different, so don't be surprised if your results don't look like the example report. One key element on this page is the Holland theme codes, right here on the left-hand side. The artistic, the realistic, the investigative, the social, the enterprising, and the conventional. To the right over here, under interests, work activities, potential skills, and values, you see some of the characteristics that likely remind you of the self-assessment activity we completed earlier in this module. Your Holland codes, your Reassec codes, are in order from the highest level of interest to the lowest level of interest. So everyone's are going to be in a slightly different order based on how you answered the questions. As you scroll down this page, you're going to see some bar graphs right here that visually represent your Reassec letters. In the graphs are different words that might include very high, high, moderate, low, and very low, indicating your level of interest in that various category. Someone with a very high interest level will likely report a higher level of interest in that category compared to others. And conversely, someone with a low level of interest will likely report much less interest than others in that particular category. On this report, you'll see that this individual has 2 bars that state high level of interest and 4 bars that state moderate level. To the right, the STD score is your standard score. Your standard score is based on the average scores of working adults, both male and female. However, research has shown that men and women tend to respond differently in certain areas. For example, there are more men with higher realistic scores than women, so grouping the genders together wouldn't help you best identify your interests. So the words inside the graphs here, the very high, high, moderate, low, and very low, are only comparing you to others of the same gender. This is why on this example report, I have a standard score of 53 in realistic that is considered high, while I have a standard score of 54 that is considered moderate. So again, this is looking at everyone. This is looking at gender specific. Right above the bar graphs right here is your highest themes and your associated theme code. The code will likely be 2 or 3 letters. How do these letters compare to the self-assessment you completed earlier in the module? Many people can accurately estimate the results, but in some cases the letters might be in a different order. Move on to the next page here. Page 4 is the basic interest scales that represent interest areas that are more specific work activities, projects, coursework, and even leisure activities that you are likely to find personally motivating and rewarding. You'll see down here, if I scroll down, that each of the 6 general themes are included, but that more specific categories within each are introduced. For example, under artistic right here, you'll see performing arts, visual arts and design, culinary arts, writing, and mass communication. Even within one general theme code, you'll likely see differentiation in the subcategories. For example, this is ranging from a moderate interest in writing and mass communication to a very high interest in the performing arts. Similar to the previous page, you'll see your standard score that is including everyone, as well as the stated interest level right here, which is gender specific. For space limitation reasons, you'll see abbreviations. So the VH is very high, the M stands for moderate, the L stands for low. The summary right here, the summary above the data, shows your top 5 interest areas, as well as your areas over here of least interest. Most people connect well with their top 5 interest areas, and they can also understand why the levels of least interest had the lowest level of interest. Page 5 shows your top 10 occupations most closely aligned with your interests. Keep in mind that the occupations listed are just some of the many occupations linked to your interests that you might want to consider. You will also see a few careers to the right here that are occupations of dissimilar interest. So you've got your top 10 over here in the shaded box, and then the dissimilar careers to the right. On the next few pages, you'll see how your interest levels connect with 130 different occupations. Now, remember that the scores don't focus on the tasks of the career, but rather how similar your interests are to those people of the same gender who have been working in and are satisfied with that occupation. And then in this last paragraph here, you'll see a reference to ONET Online, one of the websites we used in a previous module. In the next video, I'm also going to introduce you to a website called the Bureau of Labor Statistics. It's a free and very helpful website that will provide you details on various careers, including typical job duties, pay, and educational requirements. I think the reason that's so important is sometimes you look at a career, for example, right here where it says paralegal, and you're not really sure what a paralegal does and what it entails. So this Bureau of Labor Statistics website will make sure that you have the necessary information to understand what these careers entail. Starting on page 6, these next 3 pages show how similar your interests are with people of the same gender who are already working in and satisfied with these career fields. So if you look here at the top right of the page, this is kind of your key to interpreting the data. So this is telling us that anyone with a score of 40 and above, this indicates that you share interests with others of the same gender in that occupation, and you would also likely enjoy the job. The smaller your score, the less similar interests you share. And you can see that even within this one category of artistic, there were some that had some similar interests and others that had very few or even dissimilar interests. What I suggest at this point is you pause the video for a few minutes so you can more thoroughly review the next 3 pages and the 130 included career fields. On page 9, you'll find your personal style scales. These describe different ways of approaching people, learning, and leading, as well as your interest in risk-taking and participating in teams. For example, under work style right here, you'll see 2 ends of a continuum. So from prefers working alone to prefers working with people. The diamond right here indicates your preference for one style versus the other. So in this example report, you can see the score is not mid-range, but slightly more toward the clear side of prefers working with people. I also encourage people to look more in-depth than the obvious results. For example, if we scroll down here to risk-taking, you'll see that the diamond indicates a mid-range score. So kind of halfway between dislikes risk-taking and likes risk-taking. However, it's important to remember that there's so many different types of risks that you could possibly take. For example, some people are willing to take physical risks. You could go skydiving. But those same people might not be willing to take social risks, such as asking someone out on a date. Others might take a financial risk, such as buying a house, but may be unwilling to take a different type of financial risk, such as changing jobs or moving to a new town. The more you can analyze the results, the better you will understand who you are and what's important to you. Page 10 is the profile summary. It contains the overview of all the information provided thus far. You'll see up here your highest themes from your Holland RIASEC codes, your top 5 interest areas, your top 10 interest areas, as well as your areas of least interest and occupations of dissimilar interest. And again, here is your personal style scales preferences, the overview from the previous page. I also like to see the response summary. This shows you a summary of the responses that you gave to the different sections of the inventory. So of all the questions that were asked, there were questions on occupations, subject areas, activities. And for example, on activities, on this example report, this individual strongly liked 2, liked 24, was indifferent to 29, disliked 43, and strongly disliked 1. This can help people understand why their scores had either lots of scores with high interest levels or very few. Page 11 shows the Holland RIASEC codes and typical majors associated with each. So for example, here under artistic, some typical college majors are advertising, art education, art history, design, linguistics. Remember that not every college offers the same majors, so it might be important to explore both your interests and which colleges can best support your interests. Page 12 uses your basic interest scales. Now remember, these were the subgroups of the main Holland RIASEC codes to help you consider various campus activities, internships, and even college classes that may meet your interests. Page 13 is your top 10 strong occupations and associated information, including educational preparation and college courses. I particularly like this column right here with related careers, as now your list of 10 careers has grown to 40, and it helps you more fully consider career opportunities. Please continue on to watch the next video on how to use the Bureau of Labor Statistics website to begin exploring some of the careers that match your interests. Have a great week, everyone.